Let's talk about smart homes. We're going to pull back the curtain on how all that magic actually happens. You know, how your house knows to turn on the lights or lock the door all on its own. So that's the big question, right? How does a smart home actually know what to do and when to do it? It can feel pretty futuristic, but I promise, by the end of this, you'll see it's all based on some really simple, powerful logic. Just picture this. You walk in the door, your arms are totally full of groceries, and just like that, the lights turn on, the temperature adjusts, and the door locks itself behind you. We've all been there, wishing the house would just help out. Well, that seamless experience, that's not magic. It's just a well-designed automation built on pure logic.
Okay, let's get into it. To really understand any smart home automation, you just need to get a handle on three core concepts. Think of them as the fundamental building blocks: the when, the what, and the how.
So first up, we've got the trigger. This is your when. It's the spark that kicks everything off. It could be a specific time, like 7 a.m., a sensor spotting motion, your phone arriving home, or even just you saying, hey, turn on the lights. It's that initial event that gets the ball rolling.
Next is the scene. This is the what. A scene is basically a saved snapshot of exactly how you want your devices to be set. Think about a movie night scene, for example. It doesn't just turn one light on or off. It sets all the lights to a specific dim level, maybe closes the blinds, and turns on the TV. It's a predefined mood you can call up instantly.
And finally, we have the routine. This is the how. The routine is the glue, the logical recipe that connects your when, the trigger, to your what, which is the scene or the action. It's that simple but powerful, if this happens, then do that logic that really brings your smart home to life.
And this table here really lays it all out. You've got your reactive trigger that detects something happening. That kicks off the conditional logic of a routine, which then activates a static scene. See? Each one has its own specific job, from spotting an event, to creating a mood, to automating the whole workflow.
All right, so that's the theory. But let's see how this stuff actually comes together in the real world. We're going to walk through a few examples from a typical day to see these building blocks in action.
Let's start with waking up. Your trigger is the time, 7 a.m. on a Saturday. Then the routine kicks in. It does a quick check. Are you actually home? If the answer is yes, then boom, it fires off the morning scene. And just like that, the blinds open, the coffee maker starts brewing, and your favorite podcast starts playing. It's a perfect example of how one trigger can make so many things happen at once.
Okay, how about when you're leaving the house? In this case, the trigger is your location. Your phone just left the designated home area. The routine is smart enough to check and confirm that nobody else is home, and once it knows the house is empty, it runs the away scene. All the lights go off, the doors lock, and the thermostat adjusts to save energy. It's like your own personal shutdown sequence that you never have to think about.
Now this is a fantastic example of automation that's truly smart. The trigger is simple, motion in the hallway. But here's the clever part. The routine adds a condition. It only runs if it's between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. And instead of blasting you with bright light, the action is very specific. Turn on the hallway lights to a very soft 10% red glow. It's not just smart, it's considerate.
So we get the logic now. But what's the actual piece of hardware that's doing all this thinking? Let's take a quick look at the brains behind the whole operation.
For most of these really cool automations, you're going to have something called a smart home hub. This is your home's central brain. It's the device that runs all that if-then logic we've been talking about. And a good hub is what lets a sensor from one company talk to a light bulb from a completely different company, making them all work together like a single unified system.
Now this is a really, really important point. Where that thinking happens matters a lot. With cloud processing, every single command has to travel out to the internet, hit a server, and come all the way back. But with local processing, sometimes called edge processing, all the thinking happens right there inside the hub in your house. This makes your automations way faster, way more reliable. They'll work even if your internet goes down, and maybe most importantly, it keeps your private data right where it belongs inside your home.
Okay, so you understand the building blocks and the tech behind them. So how do you make sure your automations are rock solid and don't end up being more trouble than they're worth? Let's go over a few best practices.
These are super simple, but they make a huge difference. First, name your devices clearly. Kitchen sink light is so much easier to remember and use than switch 1, especially with voice commands. Next, if you have a routine that turns on a bunch of stuff at once, just add a tiny 1 or 2 second delay between each command. That helps prevent your network from getting jammed up. Always try to pick devices that use local control for the best speed and reliability. And finally, just take 5 minutes once a month to look over your routines, clean out old ones, and make sure nothing is clashing.
So if you only take one thing away from all of this, let it be this simple formula right here. A great automation is just these 3 things working together. A when to kick it off, that's your trigger, a how to handle the logic, that's your routine, and a what to actually do, that's your scene or action. That's it. That's the secret sauce.
And that really brings us to the end, but it's also kind of a new beginning for you. Now that you understand these building blocks, think about your own daily life. What's that one little frustration? Forgetting to turn off a basement light, fumbling for a switch in the dark, wishing the coffee was already made when you woke up. What's the first thing you could solve with a simple automation? And hey, if you're ready to dive in and get started, you can find a ton of practical guides and really beginner-friendly explanations over at Hoomexa.com to help you along the way. Thanks for joining me.